It's me again. My name is John from CyberWatch, and this video or class is powered by CyberWatch Hive. In this class, we're going to be continuing with what we've started already, and today we're going to be learning about variables. And like is our custom here, we'll go to to Google and make a search on variable. But what we need to know is variable is actually like a container, a box. All right, is a box, that we put something and we reference it, or we go back there to collect whatsoever we put, either one or two. But here, let's type in and see what are variables. Okay, like it is here in coding. Now, variables are used to store information to be referenced and manipulated in a computer program. They also provide a way of labeling data with a descriptive name, so our programs can be understood more clearly by the reader and ourselves. It's helpful to think of variables as containers here that hold information. You see what I was talking about. So variables majorly are containers that hold information. You might not understand now, but as soon as you start using them right away, you get to know them better. So let's go back to our PyCharm, our IDE. So like we were saying, variables. Okay, let me use an analogy of a wardrobe. All right, a wardrobe, a closet. Okay, where you can actually hang your clothes. All right. Now you have a blue checkers, you have a black checkers, you have a purple checkers, for example, right? You have a white checkers. Now, you hung all these checkers, all these shirts in the closet, like in the wardrobe, and you need to you need to go out, and maybe you want to use one of those shirts. So what you need to do is you come to the wardrobe or your closet, you open it up and fetch one, all right, or two, as the case may be. All right, you fetch the one that you want to use or the ones you want to use. That's just an example of a variable. Now, the wardrobe or your closet is a variable that contains values that you stored in them. All right. So originally, a variable is empty if you don't store anything in them, like it is like it's in the case of the wardrobe or your box. All right. But as soon as you store things on them, you have things that you can go back there to withdraw. It's still like your bank account. All right. Bank account, if you don't drop any money there, is as good as empty. But as soon as you start dropping money there, you can go back to withdraw your money, either all or part. Now your bank account now is a variable. All right. So and but as the case may be, as we go on, maybe we'll get to realize that if in as much as variables are empty at creation, you need to be sure that they are empty. You need to be sure that you've not used them somewhere else. Okay, so you now initialize them. Initializing meaning you are writing a line of code to ensure that that variable is empty. All right, so I would say variable. Let me just say it's variable. Variable is a container. Okay, let me do it like this. Let me, because it's bringing out all those things, because I didn't actually use these very comments. I don't know whether we did it the last class. When you want to write anything within your code, it's a good practice you use a comment. Anything you want to write that you don't want it to be executed, is good you write in Python. It's good you use the hashtag there, or pound sign, for it to be recognized as a comment. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do variables. Variables are containers. that can be used to store values for let me say for future use. Yes, for future use. All right. And we are going to be say um we're going to be using um we're going to be talking about some things under variable. Okay, we're going to be talking about some things under variables, and those things that we're going to be talking about, or the pattern, the way that we're going to actually use the variables actually is what we're going to be talking about. All right, so what we're going to do now, let me first of all show you how we can use variables. Okay, so let's say if we want our code to know about we want our code to know about our name, so we can say name. Okay, equals, we always use equal sign. Okay, watch what I'm going to do now. Name equals, now and we are going to use this double quote, and I will explain to you now. Equals John. All right, name equals John. So before I continue with that line, let me go back here and now say that and write the things that we're going to be talking about here. We're going to be talking about strings. We're going to be talking about integers. We're going to be talking about float. Don't worry, we're going to be talking about them. You understand why I'm dropping them now. We're going to be talking about boolean. Boolean. Yes, here. So now, like, I actually started with strings here because this is what I just dropped here. Now, anything, when we talk about strings, it means we're talking about anything that is seen or caught in between these double quotes. All right, so in that case, John is a string. All right, don't worry, as we go ahead you understand better. All right, John is a string. All right, it means you can carry out arithmetic operation, like you can do calculate with John. All right, you can calculate with John. You understand that part also. Okay, let's say, let me go back down here and say age. All right, let me say age is equal to, if I go ahead to now do 22. All right, you can't go ahead and calculate with this 22 because we say 22 is a string, because we put the 22 in between the double quote. All right, so if we want to actually see the age as a number, we have to remove the double quote, and in this case, this age now is an integer. All right, so age that is not a string, that is a number, is actually, it's called an integer in programming language. Okay, now float, let's go to float. So let's say bank balance. Let's say uh bank balance or account balance. Okay, let's say account balance. And I'm going to talk about something here also. Account balance, let's say it's 22 or 202 200 202. Okay, let's say 202.93. all right, so if it's in dollars, we're going to say $202.34. If it's in naira, we're going to say 202 naira 34 kobo. All right, so this very one that's decimal, like that has decimal value here, this dot or point, is what we call float. All right, anything that has decimal number is what we refer to as float. All right, so, and also Another one that I need to bring to our notice also is that's explaining this boolean now. Boolean had just two values. All right, if something is true or if something is false. So true or false is all what we refer to as boolean. All right, it just have two values. All right, there's no in between answer to it. So okay, let's say is let's say um is male, like it's a male, is a male, like if you are a male, let's say true. Right, true. And we can also have false. We can also have false like that. Mind you, the false or true that we are going to have here, like true, right, that we're going to have here, we're not enclosing it with the quotes, with the double quotes, because it's also it's not a string. All right, it's a boolean. Okay, so I want to be careful with the words that I use now, like the terms I use. Okay, so I won't get anybody confused. No, but just know that a boolean is not enclosed in um in the quote. All right, booleans are they stand on their own. They are not enclosed in quotes. All right. So now this is a string. Number 4, line number 4 is a string. Line number 5, that's age here. Name is a string. Age is an integer. Account balance that has a decimal value like a point here is a float. Then is male is true. All right, now let's go ahead and do something now. Okay, and mind you, before we go there, mind that here I say account underscore balance. All right, there are ways you can form a variable name. Now these ones that are here, like this name, age, account underscore balance is male, they are called variable names. They are the real variables here. And these other ones, this is John as a string, is a value that you are storing in name. 22 is a value you're storing in age. 202.34 is a value you're storing in account balance, and true is a value you're storing in male. So the variable names here are name, age, account balance, is male, and their values are John, 22, 202.34, true. I hope you're following. Now, if we want to access this name, we're not going to be using John in our code. We're going to be referring to John through this variable name, which is name. The same thing happens to age. The same thing happens to account balance. The same thing happens to Ismail. So let's come down here and practicalize that. Okay. So if in any programming languages or language, you can actually if you want to see something on your screen, if you want your code to to show you something from within your code, we use, depending on the programming language you are using, we actually, like in Python, we actually use print. Right, like in other programming languages, like let's say for example PHP, we use echo. All right, in as much as we still have print underscore r, all right, in PHP, yeah. But if you really say you want to see something, you use echo, because print underscore r there it means another thing. I don't want to go there. And also var dump, also it's another thing that you can use to actually see things, but to really print is echo. But here we use print. So let's say we want to print this name. All right, we can go ahead and do print like this. And most times you see, like in this very IDE, you will see something comes up. All right, in other IDEs they come up, but you need to do some installations. Okay, some extensions, extension installations. All right, but here we have them pre-built, like already made for us to. That's why from the first class I said something. I said PyCharm is actually an easy short plug for a starter or even a professional to use. Okay, now when you see print and you see all those things, it's showing you what you need to do. Is it this one you want to use, or this, or this? But this first one is the one that we'll need to use. So anytime you see anything like that, you go check on your on your keypad, like your keyboard, and press tab key. Is always at the top, not top, all right, like, but at the top left, kind of close to the top of the left. This, look for tab key, you tap on it, you see, to complete it, and it has shown us what we need to do there. So majorly we'll now say print name. That is if you want to actually see the name John. All right, so if I go ahead, look at this point, you see this play, like I showed you in the first class. Go ahead and press on the play. You see that we have John here. All right, so if we change this to age, all right, which is this very one, I want to see the age, you can click on the play. You see that 22. The same thing, account balance. All right, if you do account balance, all right, and we go ahead and play it or run it, you see the value, and it still applies to this. All right, still applies to that. Run, you see true. So that's actually how this thing works. All right, that's actually how it works. So let's make it more interactive. Okay, so watch what I'm going to do now. If I want to say your name is John, you are 22 years old, your account balance is 202.34, and you are a male. All right, or 202.34. All right, because majorly this boolean, we don't just use print it like that, we use it within the code, and I will show you. Okay, let's leave it out yet, okay, and do these first ones that I say. So now I'll go ahead and say, I'll put, now if you want to actually do anything like I told you in string, like your name, your name is, all right. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm not going to say name here like this. All right, if I say your name is name, this name, which is our variable name here, will not be seen, will not be executed properly. Watch what I'm going to do now. Let me run it. You see, your name is name. This is not what we want to get. We actually want to get John, which is the value we stored in this. So in Python, what we do is we come out here, all right, we'll do file formatting, all right, and we'll put F. All right, okay, let me go back so that we understand very well. So after we do the print, before we put our double quote like this, we'll put F, all right, for file formatting, okay, and we'll now do our double quotes before we start. Your name is, all right, your name, instead of your name is name, now we're going to open this curly brackets, curly braces. By when you press your shift key down, you check to the top of, close to the top of the right side of your keyboard, you see curly braces is normally combined with square brackets. Okay, check there. When you press the shift key and you press that key, it will bring it out. All right, now inside of the curly braces, or curly brackets as you want to call it, I will now put name. In this case, in this way, it's recognizing the name as a variable name. Okay, before we continue, let me go ahead and run it. You see, your name is John. Are you following? Okay, now let's continue with our statement. Your name is name, which is John. I'll do comma. You are. I know you can think of what we're going to do next, right? Okay, you are. Then we'll also drop our curly braces or curly brackets. You are. We'll put age. We'll go out. Yes. Old. your account balance is, then we'll also drop the curly braces here. Now do account balance. We'll go out and put full stop. Now let's go ahead and run it. When we run it, you see your name is John. You are 22 years old. Your account balance is 202.34. Okay, let's say we want to add maybe $sign here. We'll go ahead and add our $sign this way. We'll put $sign, then we'll now run our curly braces and put the variable name there. When I play, your name is John. You are 22 years old. Your account balance is $202.34. You see what I'm talking about? So we'll form, this is actually a code, okay? This is a line of code. And this is how it works in programming language. All right. So if I want to use this very one now, okay, I'm going to introduce something down here. Though, don't be scared when you see it, okay? Later in the course of this tutorial, we're going to touch what I'm going to use, okay? Like I want to touch or use conditional statement if. All right. So if I say if is male, now meaning if is true. If I say if is male, it means I'm referring to this true. All right. Then I'll come to the front and put a column. I go down, I say print you can, okay, or we'll say you should take care of that. Okay, should take care of that. All right. Else print you should take care of mom. All right. So what this thing is actually doing is, if it's a male, meaning if it's true that you are a male, take care of that. Else, that if you're not a male, you should take care of mom. All right. So now an is male here is true, meaning you're a male. So what should be printed out, if I may ask? 3, 2, 1. This is going to be printed out. So if it's male is false here, this is going to be printed out. Okay, let's go ahead and run it again. See, you should take care of that. All right. So if I go back here and change this to false, false, you should know that this is going to be printed. Line number 14. So let me go ahead and run it. You see, you should take care of mom. See, so that's how Boolean actually work. You use Boolean most especially if you want to make a decision, if you want to bring a condition to a part of a code. Say if we want a part of a code to run and we don't want other parts to run or to execute, that's when we use conditional statement. But do not worry, we are going to touch conditional statements in the next or in the subsequent video. All right. So majorly, this is what we actually refer to as variables, or this is how we use variables. Okay. So that is it for today's class. Now we've touched strings, we've touched integers, we've touched floats, and we've touched boolean. And I know that this very class today, I hope you understand everything that we've done. So what I'm going to be doing now is I will leave this class at this point, and in the next class we'll do what we call typecasting, data types, and typecasting. All right. So when we get there, you get to know. But it's a good practice that you go ahead and read what I just said now, data types and typecasting. So it will be easier for you to follow along um, when we get to the next class. Thank you very much and see you in the next class. Bye for now.